I need to ask you a question. Be curious, drifters.
Amelia's duel hits the front.
Emma is coming right away for Damien Oliver.
Bella Nipotina, and boy, doesn't she deserve this.
The Giga Kick's got a strong kick.
Golden Mile, soar out the mile. I'm thunderstruck over the top. Mr. Brightside has won the mile.
And Militarised blows them away in the Champagne Stakes. And she's a class act, pulling right away Prowess. And Zugotcha won it by 2.5.
Zaki joined by Animo, who looks destiny in the face.
Before we get into the horse racing chat, I have a question for you, which has come directly from my partner, Peru.
For me specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I got asked the exact same question.
Okay.
When is the last time that you thought about the Roman Empire?
I've seen this meme.
I haven't seen it at all.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I've seen this meme where it's effectively girlfriends or partners being blown away by how often their significant other thinks about the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And like most of these guys are like, oh shit, like once a day. Like randomly. How often do I think about the Roman Empire? I'm going to struggle to think about it once a month, realistically.
I honestly couldn't tell you. Like maybe every time I see the movie like 300 pop up and I see Gerard Butler.
That's not the Romans though.
Yeah, but it looks like the Romans.
Yeah, I guess so. A fantastic movie.
Or when Kanye's bloody rapping about it. Like the Romans.
I think about like ancient Egypt and ancient Greece pretty often. I'd say probably once a week.
Ancient Egypt and so like pyramids and stuff.
Yep.
Again,
Sphinx.
Frank Ocean pyramids is my reference.
Yeah, I'm thinking of sphinxes. You're thinking of sphincters. We're just on two different levels here, we're not. I'm a learned type.
Okay. All right. Maybe I just need to pick up a book. Maybe that's my issue.
Mate, you know what you are? You're a podcast guy. That's your source of information.
Yes, that is true.
You're a data analytics type. I'm a off with the fairies up in the clouds type.
That's true. All right.
Yes.
Drifters, I would say that was just a nice little entree, a good spring dish of racing that we had yesterday.
Yeah, it was a nice, like your entree, something bready. And you're like, you know what, I could be happy just having that as my main.
Yeah.
It's a nice bready.
This is the best bread I've had of all time.
Yeah.
And the butter is sensational. It's cultured.
Cultured butter.
It's a bit of salt on there.
Crusty on the edges, but not to the point where you're literally getting a chainsaw to cut it.
Yeah.
The bread. But just a nice consistency.
Yeah, coupled with a nice Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir.
And you're having a sensational little dish there.
Oh, sub out the Pinot for a nice Shiraz or a Cab Sauv and I'm there.
I'm a Pinot guy personally, but Mr. Brightside, Amelia's Jewel, Private Eye, Red Denier. I always get that horse's name wrong. Tis Invincible, just fine. How good is he?
He's good.
And Tino was disappointing, but don't knock the jock quite yet. Legacies was disappointing. King's Gambit, what happened with him? Think it over, mate. How good is he? And then the question mark, biggest question mark for me of the weekend was Alentia.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Listener question from Jordan Gelding. After the results of yesterday, what are the top 5 milers in the country right now, or the top 5 milers that would race in Australia?
Fangirl.
Well, all right, we're going 5 to 1.
Yeah. Oh, 5 to 1. Okay.
I've Alligator Blood at number 5.
Yeah, the blood at number 5. Fair enough. I think his best year was last year, and I don't see him recapturing that form.
And he'll fall out of the top 5 for mine.
Yeah.
Number 4, Fangirl.
Yep.
Because I think there's some X factor elsewhere that I want to go with ahead of her.
I think if you made one significant change to Fangirl yesterday,
No.
and that is to change. She's a Goldilocks horse, mate.
Yeah,
She's fantastic.
So is Zaki.
Yeah.
Zaki, and we'll go into the figures later, Drifters. He had all the favours.
Did he?
They were walking in that race. So to finish as close as she did was sensational. So Kieran did all he could, I think. Like, it wasn't his fault.
Pericles would have won that race because he would have sat close to speed. He would have just been too sharp for him. But anyway.
I initially had Pericles in my top 5, but then I took him out.
Okay.
If he wins the Epsom, he's in the top 5 for me.
Yeah, okay. So who's 3?
Legato. I think she's the X factor. Like, I was looking through the 3-year-old winners of the miles.
All the guineas and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, she was the best. Like, easily. Because, like, Communist hasn't come on. Osipenko, I don't think he'll win a Group 1 now because, like, where is he going to win it? Because there's always going to be a better miler there. 2,000 meters is absolutely stacked. He's not going to win one of them.
Handicap.
Yeah, but like maybe a 2-rack or something. But I think he's a Flemington horse.
Yeah. So I think a good comparison for a horse like Osipenko is a horse like Mr. Brightside. So Mr. Brightside was probably built through his grades a lot better because, Osipenko was straight into like the group level 3-year-old stuff, whereas Mr. Brightside didn't really come onto the scene until he was a 4-year-old. But, wins the Doncaster, carrying 50.5 kilos, so clearly his rating wasn't that high. And then an entire prep later starts actually becoming a genuine weight for age horse, and now is arguably the best horse in the country.
Yep.
So a horse like Osipenko, he might need to be that handicap horse for a while, and then with time he'll become a Group 1 weight for age horse because he's clearly got the talent.
Yes.
But then it's a question of, okay, cool, so do we wait until this thing with its nuts is 6?
Yeah.
Or do we geld him?
Yep. Exactly. So it's the conundrum for the connections, but
it's not our problem.
It isn't our problem. We just punt on these things. Number 2, Amelia's Jewel.
Yeah. I'm in love with that horse. There's just ones that you just fall in love with.
Yeah.
She's one of them.
I think so.
Yeah.
She's special.
She's special.
Like, no right to win. And she
it never looked like losing.
No. It's almost like she had a grin on her face. Like, what the fuck are you putting me here for?
Toppy.
Sorry?
Give me 65 kilos. Give me 70. DJ, come down from Brisbane. How much do you weigh? 84 on a good day. Yeah, get on my back. That's AJ. And then obviously Mr. Brightside, mate. He was never losing that race.
Yeah, no.
Never losing that race.
And I was watching it with Bradley in Doll Lab yesterday, and I was nervous.
Big penis man and the big bald man.
Yes.
Jesus. Did you feel inadequate in any way?
I really did. And I was just like, because they were not running time up front. They were walking as well. I was getting nervous because Alligator Blood giving him 3 lengths. I'm like, oh, can he make him up? Can he make him up? Not that proven at Flemington, just destroyed him. So all right, that's the top 5 milers, right? Any on the fringes that you reckon we've missed there?
Oh, we mentioned Pericles.
Yeah.
I'd think he's the guy to, ironically, nutcase 3-year-old and couldn't beat any of them. No, he's won a few lower sort of standard races, but he could be the one to be the weight for age horse. Rifle favourite in the Epsom. I think it'd be incredibly hard to beat. Really disappointed he didn't run yesterday because if he beat them there, you're like, shit, yes, we've got something coming through.
Yeah.
I think It Over as well is probably still on the periphery there.
Yeah, well, he kind of proved me wrong in a way. I just didn't think he was quite up to them, but what a sensational training effort.
Yeah.
Again, and 7 stakes, first time it's $1 million race. Perfectly placed again. Ultimate money spinner, this horse.
Oh, you'd love to own him. An old So You Think gelding, we have to own one, the 2 of us, before it's all said and done.
Yeah, of course.
We have to.
Yeah.
Like a ready to race, ready to run horse.
Yep.
Who's like 7.
Yeah.
You bring it up here.
Sosie Bond. Let's bring him back out of retirement.
Exactly.
Yeah. He'll win a race at Ipswich.
100% he will.
All right. You wanted to bring in this segment this week, the Dill of the Week.
Yeah. So I want to start a segment on the review podcast. It's a bit of fun on a Sunday, Drifters. So, keeping it with the D theme, Dan, Declan, Drifters, DJ's Dill of the Week. And I'm going to not necessarily like horse racing related, but I'm going to talk about someone or something, or it could be either of us or a horse. It's just been a dill for the week. And we're probably a bit late to the party now, but there's a guy called Tim Gurner who had a firm opinion this week.
You sent this through earlier. What some idiotic comments there, mate.
just like So basically, Drifters, he's carrying a shotgun around. And what he did was he took his shoes off, he loaded his shotgun, put his feet up in the air, and just blew both his feet clean off. He shot himself in the foot. So Tim Gurner's a massive property developer, right?
Yeah.
And effectively comes out on like some Fin Review bloody panel interview thing this week and is like, I think unemployment should be up to like 40, 50%. Like employees are ungrateful. They're taking advantage of the man, blah, blah, blah. Like productivity super low. Like people don't work hard enough. It's just like, okay, five head. Like, I appreciate and respect someone who, I don't know if he's entirely self-made or not. Like I think he might be.
Yep.
So respect. Like you've done so well for yourself, mate. And I appreciate anyone who does well in business, right? But like, come on, mate. That's just an idiotic thing to say. You're a developer, so everything you're developing is depending on these people.
Yes.
Do you ever think they'll want to work for someone like you now?
Nah.
Idiot.
Deal.
Yeah. That's just a deal thing to do. Come
Isn't
on,
it?
Tim.
I have a deal of the week as well.
Do you? Okay.
The AFL and the NRL.
Oh, mate.
Complete deals.
Absolute deals.
How am I supposed to, if I wanted to, bathe in double-headed glory if I wanted to go watch the Mighty Lions dust off the Blues, and then when the average game of an AFL goes for, approximately 5 hours these days.
Way too long.
And go see Bronx Nation do their work against the Wars.
Planet Bronx against Up the Wars.
Like, how am I supposed to do that when the games are only 2.5 hours apart? It's bloody silly.
It is ridiculous. Ridiculous, but as if they weren't going to give the AFL, as if they weren't going to give Collingwood the MCG on the Friday night.
No, well, they have to because they'll minor premier. So if Brisbane finished minor premier, they would get the Friday night game.
Yep.
That's how they work it out. And the NRL do the exact same thing. Nothing wrong with that. And you probably want around a 5 o'clock game anyway because you don't want to be too hot, I guess.
No, yeah.
So I get it. Start at 4.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
So anyway, that's the issue I have.
Look,
and
the headquarters for the AFL and the NRL aren't in Brisbane, and I think they're not happy with us dominating both sports.
Mate, they are on they are on the precipice of having like one of the greatest fill-ups of all time or losing a biblical amount of money. If they have GWS play Brisbane in a grand final, that would be one of the great losses of the league that they'd ever hope to see.
100%.
Great for growing the game up here, but they want cash now.
Yes.
And the thought of Collingwood versus Carlton in a grand final, do you reckon they're going to have a word to the umpires this week?
Potentially, but I'm not a cynic, Hutch, so let the boys play. Imagine that. And then on the NRL side, like you want a Pennies Broncos grand final.
Yeah,
you don't want the Wires in there.
No.
Even though like I'm half riding that wave.
Yeah,
up the Wires.
Yeah, of course. But they
funds across the Dutch.
Yeah, they beat a beaten up Knights tough side.
Oh no, the Broncos will beat the Wires. I'm telling you this much right now. The Broncos will beat them.
Yes, they will. All right. Let's get into the reviews. Let's get into the Makybe Diva Stakes. Let's get the replay up real quick right now. Initial thoughts on the race?
I was a bit worried too when I was watching the race. Looking at the times, they were absolutely walking. But I always thought Mr. Brightside drawing gate 2, like absolutely perfect. And mate, he's just become a bit bulletproof, hasn't he?
Hasn't he? It's ridiculous. Like to give you a snapshot of how slow these horses have actually gone. He's run the third fastest last 400 of the meeting, not the race of the meeting, and the second fastest last 200.
Wow!
And I think there was 4 races of lower distances on the day, maybe even 5. So including like 3 1100 meter races. So they have absolutely walked here. Look at the red here watching on racing.com. Gives you like how quick they're running to the benchmark of the race, right? Plus 1.3 seconds is like...
How many lengths is that?
That's like 8 lengths.
Yeah, shit.
8, 9 lengths, So closer to 8. But And then you see Alligator Blood here. He's got 2 to 3 lengths on him. And you're still about 600 from home. Princess Grace getting a lovely run, which I wasn't really expecting, but she got found out to the mile. And
100% she did.
She has better form overseas over these distances. So, but look at Brightside just actually poking his tongue out to the rest of the competition.
Oh, mate, yeah. Never looked like losing from here.
And you can't... Ollie gave Alligator Blood a
ride.
sensational ride.
Great ride.
Like, you're not going to get more if TC was on.
No. But the Blood... What Mr. Brightside has this year that he didn't have last year, I think, is the sit and sprint. So Brightside, if you look at his Doncasters and his All-Star Mile win, were in tough mile races. Like that All-Star Mile was a tough race. And he was the best athlete. So he's now added a new dimension to his game, which, as well as being able to take a forward spot, is being able to sit and sprint.
Like, my initial thoughts after the race, I'm like, gee, this horse could win a Cox Plate. But then, analysing the times, they needed to be a sit and sprint Cox Plate, I think. But, which you're never going to get, I don't think. No. So
it's one of the few truly run weight for age races that we have. Yeah.
And if they're gonna win one, it's going to be this prep, because like he's just
flying.
He's just absolutely flying.
He's flying.
Yeah, he is the best horse in Australia, right?
Yeah, he really is. And so, he goes to an Underwood now, I assume, or is he going to something else?
The King Charles.
Oh, right. Okay.
Give me the mile.
Yeah, and that's worth $5 million. Yeah, he's not losing that.
Yeah. Well, you have him versus Fangirls, Arky.
Well, I said to you way back when he won the PB Lawrence at the start of the prep and Fangirl won the Wink Stakes over 1,400 metres. I said, Mr. Bryce, I would have won that race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good horse.
Very, very good horse. All right, so we get to the rest of the program. Now, sorry, Drifters, this is an absolute horror watch if you're on Antino here like we were. Oh, my God. The Sofitel. Now, who was the jock? Jimmy Orman?
Jimmy Orman, yeah.
Now, on initial thoughts, you're thinking, mate, what are you doing?
Yes.
It wasn't his fault.
No. So the horse, it looked like there was no space there, but there was a run there.
Yeah, there was.
And the horse balked, yeah.
Yeah, so he'll be far better for the run. And you can see that he wants to go. He has no issue actually running through other horses.
He regathers himself. If there was another 50 metres, he might even win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the runs of the day.
Yeah.
And fucking Colino, you kidding me?
Oh, unbelievable.
Of all horses.
I think the only thing you could critique of Jimmy Orman is you drew gate 1, just spark him up a little bit and lead so you don't get trapped there. But that's a complete forgive. Is that the punters.com bloody Saturday slaughter?
I hope not, because
it's undeserved.
No.
But mate, he's a horse you want to stick with
through
the prep for sure.
So we're looking at the Stewards Vision. There is 2 horse wits.
Yeah.
When it all went wrong.
Yeah.
And the horse just balked. First way going, the Melbourne way going. So probably saw the fence. It was like, I don't want to go anywhere near that. And he just kept shifting back, going grandstand side. So to Jimmy's credit, he's like, all right, mate, well, we'll try and find a run that way.
Yeah. So
the runs close up and then he had to go the other way again. It's just a horror watch.
That's one of those ones that as a punter, you just feel really sick.
Yep.
After watching it, and you just looking through the line there. Oh, well.
I know.
On to the next one. He's something you can back with confidence.
Turak, I think.
Incredibly well placed there.
Yes. I think he's going to be awfully hard to beat. People are backing up, the amenable form has stood up as well. He's probably between those two at this moment. Amelia's Jewel might go that way as well. Like, she's favourite in futures markets at the moment, but she's probably favourite for a lot of races.
She's probably favourite for a Cox Plate and a bloody Golden Eagle.
The Poseidon Stakes. Now, all the trials suggested that King's Gambit had ironed out his kinks. Look at him early in this race, down on the fence, red silks here. Early days, you're like, oh yeah, he's just getting into his work, the king. And then he starts putting his head up, and Blake Shin's having an awfully hard time of it. He's like,
Blake Shin's the type that you want on him too, but he does not look happy King's Gambit at all.
So for him to stick on for third is unbelievable.
He's got some talent, like, but what do you, like you said, what do you do with him? Do you just hope he just figures it out?
Yeah, well, what do we know?
Do you just keep him going this prep, aiming towards a Coolmore, and if that fails, then it's like, okay, cool, what do we want to do with this racehorse?
Yes.
Do we want him to be a racehorse?
Yep.
Or are we going to stand him at stud for something a lot cheaper than what you would hope?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be silly not to, like...
You don't kill him yet.
No way. You give him the entire prep. I'm Unstoppable has franked that cylinder form again. So that cylinder form is really, I guess, it's quite strong. Kadinsky Abstract was quite strong through the line, just got way too far back.
Yeah.
The really disappointing one was Pivot City.
Pivot City was disappointing, yeah.
Stewart's report, though, didn't handle the ground and pulled up lame.
Right, okay.
So total forgive for him. First time in that grade too, just might have just been run off his legs.
Yep.
So Archo Nacho was a pretty smart winner.
Yep.
I reckon you could probably back him with some confidence heading towards something a bit harder.
Archo Nacho, is there a relation between him and Buenos Noches?
I hope so.
I really hope so.
I'm not necessarily a breeding guy though.
I'm hoping for a 3-year-old to pop up next year called Enchilada.
Oh, tell you what. So legacies.
Oh.
Entering the straight, what were your thoughts? Were you thought you were just better?
Oh, yeah. Well, generally. I thought I was better, yeah.
I thought I was better because I was on your back here with Makybe Desert.
Yeah.
That's me there. I'm like,
You're smoking your pipe there.
I'm getting in the queue. I might even get in front here, but wasn't to be.
No.
Griff with the Sydney form, rock hard fit, just down the outside, just too good.
Oh, Peter Moody with a favourite sometimes. Sometimes they just don't live up to expectations. But, it is what it is. Like, she was fair.
Yeah.
She was fair.
She also popped up lame.
Did she?
So, mate.
So, Antino, Pivot City,
Mate,
and her.
it ain't ending there.
Oh,
there is the list of horses that came out lame from both meetings.
Track
yesterday.
must have been concrete in both states.
And what I think I learned yesterday, because it was extremely windy, you could see it in the jocks' silks. I think those younger horses, it can really knock them about a bit. Like a lot of the jockeys' comments after the race is like just didn't like the wind, got out of rhythm, that sort of thing. So it's something to consider next time, especially in those 3-year-old races. It's like if there is a well-fancied horse that they haven't been exposed to that, it's just something to be mindful of.
Yeah.
All right, race 6 was the Capdon Teves. Now, based on times for this race against the Poseidon, virtually identical.
Really? Okay.
Like, so basically they've gone out the exact same time, come back the exact same time, there or thereabouts. I think it's like 0.02 difference in the overall race times. She's all shenanigans. I tipped her first up. I think that might have been at Caulfield from memory.
Remember. Yeah.
Can't remember, but against Charmstone. And I think she finished about 5th or 6th there. She loves the straight at Flemington. She's pretty smart. But can you remember who you backed here? Skirt the Law.
Yeah, Skirt the Law. I thought she was, again, fair. Maybe she didn't like the track. But yeah, she just didn't really seem to have that sort of turn of foot we've seen from her. So, yeah, I'm not sure what you do with her. Maybe to that day at Flemington is just to see what they do next start.
So it was a bit of a bloodbath for punters early, but didn't we come home with a wet sail?
Came home with a wet sail. Thank the Lord Christ Almighty.
Now here's win of the day for me, Amelia's Jewel.
She had no right to win that.
So they went out. Let me get these. Don't want to butcher this. So yeah, it was the quickest of the 1,400 meter races on the day. I think they went out a little bit slower, not too much, but then they came home way faster. So sensational win, third last. I don't think you saw many come from there all day.
Not at all.
Arrogant ride from Damien Lane.
Oh yeah, he knew what was under the hood. And I actually like Damien Lane on her.
Yeah. For these absolute superstars, he's just like, he's a rhythm jockey.
100% he is. Like he's not gonna he's not going to butcher her early and try and get a position. He's like, no, I'm happy to just let her be where she is and be in a good rhythm, like you said, a bit like a Jamie Carr.
Yep. And Hugh Bowman, I reckon.
And Huey Bowman, yep, you're dead right. Whereas, like, on the other side of the coin, you got your Nashes and your Blakes. Oh, how good was Nash yesterday, by the way? It's phenomenal. And he's so good, mate.
How good was Darren Flindell's call?
Oh, mate.
We listened to that.
Yeah. Hell yeah, we are. But yeah, AJ just starting to stoke the fire. I was getting more and more confident. The more she just blended into the race here, like it wasn't even like an electric turn of foot. It was just I'm a faster horse than you, hands and heels.
Yeah, and I think he gives her one persuader right at the end, maybe two, one, and then just gets in her eye so she straightens up. Bang.
So that's like a Group 2 or Group 3.
Yeah.
For every other horse in the race, for her that was a trial.
Yeah.
Mate, like good luck beating her this prep. She's so good.
Like, so,
and I don't.
Where's she going?
Well, that's the thing. Like, Simon Miller, her trainer, who seems to be an absolute legend, by the way.
Yeah, I'd love to have a beer with Simon.
I'd love to have a beer with Simon because Simon's my mate. He's like, I'm just coming along for the fucking ride. He's like, how good is this? I'm like, yeah, bro, it's sick.
Yeah.
When he's talking about, like, if you're training for a sprint race, she could be a sprinter, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, she nearly won the Quokka so fair, nearly beat Overpass, who just ran really well yesterday as well. But no, she's a 2,000 metre horse. I reckon that she's a 2,000 metre horse through and through. She's a Cox Plate horse. I'd love for them to take her there and not worry about the Golden Eagle, but I also understand that you can only go to the Golden Eagle once. So I think she'll probably line up there.
Yeah. Amelia's Jewel v Giga Kick.
It'd be the only time we'd ever see it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't think he'll ever run 1,500 metres again if he goes to the Golden Eagle.
Oh, I reckon he could run a mile. Giga Kick.
Yeah, but I don't think he needs to. You train him for the sprint races and stretch him out at 14 sometimes. You don't need to train him to.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Millie, like,
how many Caulfield Stakes will she win? She might have bloody 10 Group 1s in the kit.
She's a 10 Group 1 horse written all over it. Yeah, 100% she is. Yeah, Animo leaves, she comes in easy.
Because you remember during the autumn, we were like, God, Cascadian, this battle-hardy gelding that his last 24 runs have been at Group 1 level or Group 2 level, basically. She could do the exact same thing for, 4 years.
Yeah.
Not 4, probably 3 years.
Do you know who she reminds me of? I don't think she's as good as yet, but gives me big Arcadia Queen vibes.
Yeah.
Like just a bit freakish.
I think she's better than Arcadia Queen.
You reckon? Arcadia Queen was very, very good.
She was,
very good. But short-lived.
Inconsistent.
Bit inconsistent, true. Bit of a Goldilocks, but she was a freak.
And that was the error that they had. They took her to the Golden Eagle. She started $5 favourite. Everest, no. They took her to the Everest.
And that cooked her.
That cooked her for about a prep.
Yeah.
That's right. And I think they backed her up in the Golden Eagle, didn't they?
I can't remember.
Can't remember. But yeah, Everest, that was the mistake with her. So, Millie's Jewel, they've kind of had their fun with Quokka.
Yep.
But so exciting, mate. I agree.
So
there's no, like, for the Cox Play, if she goes there, she would just be so hard to beat.
Yeah.
Star Patrol, now. I was on the king here. Protest came through. I was like, yes. Look how far back he is.
He's so far back.
Hey, he's a good horse.
He's a good horse. Do you know who else is a good horse, mate? Star Patrol.
Yeah.
So, like, he had surgery after his run on the Oakley Plate Drifters. Look at King of Sparta coming home like a freight train here.
Look at impended.
That's massively impended.
No, it's not.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's like...
Look at Benny through the line there as well. She was fantastic.
Look at King of Sparta through the line here, but he's also a 1,400 metre horse. So
yeah.
But sorry, Star Patrol.
Yeah, so Star Patrol had surgery after his run on the Oakley Plate. He had a couple of flat runs after stringing together like 5 or 6 wins. And they were like, something's not right with this horse. So they took him for scans and stuff. And yeah, he had like his airways were blocked. So he would have been one of the favourites for the Oakley Plate.
Yep.
Mate, he was tough as he had to hold on.
Yeah. Yeah,
he went out quick and he was tough to hold on.
His trials have been super.
He's a horse who, if I was an Everest slot holder and there wasn't a lot of things left, I'd be having a conversation.
Yeah, I think he gets a slot last year. I don't think he gets a slot this year.
I don't know. He could be one of those ones where it's like he's 5 maybe 4.
Yeah,
5. He just
Like,
there's a bit untapped there.
I think where you get nervous is this is a 1100 meter race, right? Look, he's on this strip of grass, right? And he starts wobbling about at 1100 at the end of a really strongly run 1100 meters, and then what's he going to do at 1200? Sure, he'll be fitter for it, but in the Everest, like it's going to be, you almost want that giga kick. I wish I win 1400 meters. So it's like, private eye, like those type of horses that are really going to run out strong.
Well, if you look at Everest winners, mate, so you've got Redzel and Nature Strip, who are the only two who are like on paces. And to be fair to Redzel, like I think one of them, maybe both of them, like he got conditions to suit.
One of them was good 3, and when he was like absolutely flying, and then it was a heavy 10, which he was a dead set duck.
He was an absolute duck, Redzel. God bless him. And Nature Strip obviously just held on from a fast finishing Masked Crusader. And then the other ones, Giga Kick, yes, Classic Legend, just breakneck speed, red hot pace, and they just had the turn of foot to be able to sit off them and be close enough.
Best horses in the race.
Yeah.
So, yes. So in those really quick run races, yes wins. 3-year-old weight relief, rock hard fit,
bossy as well.
Bossy. Second finishing, Santa Ana Lane.
Yeah.
Like 5-time Group 1 winner, you know? So it's like, again, over 1,400 metres.
Yeah.
Like, so he won a Stradbroke, he won a Goodwood. Like, he's serious horse. So I think you almost want to, like, that's why I think it would be stupid to give Remark a run in the Everest.
Oh, you proved yesterday. And, mate, I was confident throughout the week. I said on the podcast, like, I got my money from him.
Yes.
Like, I'm not backing him again.
Yes. We'll have
a smart punting from me.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We'll have a quick look at the last. Wasn't a group race, but it was Carini who, we did mention devoted. Sorry, Drifters. Didn't know Carini was actually in the race.
Yeah. Literally hadn't even had a chance to properly look at that race prior to the podcast. And as soon as I actually looked at the race, I was like, no, Carini's the best. Yeah. And lucky he was.
Oh, and you know what gives me, on initial look of the race, I was like, gave me the ick a bit. Was that's Sabak back on the inside who can't win a race. But then what was ultra impressive was his last 50. Like, he looks like at the 100 he's going to get absolutely toppled, and then here he's in trouble. Then he lengthens away from him again in the last 50. And maybe Sabak just gets scared of the winning post,
So what distance was that?
1,700.
Okay.
So is this horse going to line up in a
Turnbull?
Set
weights and penalties?
Yeah, potentially.
French horse. I think his French forms, all his best forms over 2,000 metres. So, yeah, interesting.
We head to Sydney, Drifters, because this is potentially one of the finds of, I think this is the wrong race. No, it's not. One of the finds of Waterhouse Bot. This is sensational buying by them. Just fine. 0.09 seconds off the 2,000 metre track record at Randwick. And he has absolutely spanked these. Gone hard out, hard back. He's just better than all of these.
Yeah, he'll go to a Cox Plate, that horse. After a Metrop, I reckon. Like, he's that sort of horse where you could freshen him after a Metrop, take him to a Cox Plate. Like, if he's going that quick, mate, 2,000 metres. Yeah, he's got loads of talent. Or maybe you just think that comes too soon for him. Maybe you go Metrop, bang, done, and then bring him back in the autumn. Maybe aim for a Cox Plate the year after.
Yeah. Like, test him at the Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. See how he goes.
Yeah.
Caulfield Cup?
Oh, hope not. I'm winding everything. If I would like something in futures, I'm just winding everything into without a fight.
Yeah, true.
Like,
he's Europeans, mate.
You can still get $12 for without a fight in the Caulfield Cup, Drifters, if you like him, like I do.
Do you know what that smells like? Fucking what's cooking? Good looking.
So in behind these, this is where I think you can just continue backing this horse with confidence, because that's Benno running into second and Montefiore into third. Montefiore might just need further, but Benno,
Stour.
Yeah, just this horse is just so dynamic. Like, I think he was $8 prior to the race in the Metropolitan. He's $4 favourite now.
Who beats him?
He'll start $2.50.
Yeah.
Like, so, Prue, speaking of Prue's dad during the week, he's like, oh, mate I work with has actually just bought 3 horses with Waterhouse Bot. One of them's just fine. I was like, they're going to be excited because this is a serious horse.
So good.
Ridiculous. All right, the T Rose over 1,400 metres. I'm kicking myself here because I was punting with my heart, not my brain.
Yeah. Comanche, thoughts?
Great run. Has since firmed in the flight stakes market. A lot closer than I thought, and got a nudge in the ribs from the 1,000 metres. So it was racing 3 wide without cover from the 1,000. Here I thought she was better, but then Tiz Invincible just...
She's better.
Mate, every time she steps up, she keeps
getting further and further away from him.
So, like, are they going to beat her in the flight stakes?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I was on Tropical Squall, and as soon as Tiz Invincible won the race, I was like, I'm so fucking dumb sometimes.
Yeah.
Like after a win last start, like as if you would jump off, like.
Yeah.
And I thought about a comment I made on podcast a few weeks ago when I was like, when sometimes it's too late when you figure out which one the best one is. It's too late.
Yeah.
Because what price will she be in the flight stakes? $2?
Yeah. 2 to 3. I think people are just thinking, all right, Kamachi's going to get her once this prep, but is she? Like, I think I would be physically ill if I jumped off Kamachi now. Yeah. So I think I have to give her one more try.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah, I think Tiz Invincible's going to have all my $100 in that.
Yeah. So this is where the times were really interesting for this because they've gone 10 lengths slower than the Red Denier race. And they only came home and the Red Denier race only went home 3 lengths quicker.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, Red Denier's race went out 10 lengths quicker and they went home 3 lengths slower. So it's like the gap there is like quite a bit. So it's like if they get something with a bit of tempo on, it's like they might kind of like, what am I trying to say?
Yeah, if so I'm Invincible is Tiz Invincible's sire, obviously, and he typically doesn't produce milers. Obviously, it's different when these girls are 3-year-olds and they can usually get to a mile just. So Zugotcha, for example, great example. So she's by Zoostar, who's a sprinter, and she was able to stretch out to the mile as a 3-year-old, but she's clearly not a miler. She's a 1,400-metre horse through and through.
Yeah.
I think Tiz Invincible's probably got that vibe. So you're right. If they get to a tough 1,600 metres where the tempo's on, that might find her out. But if it's a sit and sprint, she's just proven twice that she can just say, okay, see ya.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. All right. The 7 stakes. Now, this was also running at farcical speed, but let's have a listen to this.
By a length on Zaki. 2 lengths away then. 2 Think It Over starting to come into the race. Nash about to come off heels. Hasn't done so yet. Then Zayrek. Myobron's creeping into the race. But Zaki. Chad Schofield said go. Zaki races 2 lengths clear. Think It Over. Now he gets off heels. It's Zaki a length in front. Think It Over's coming. Zaki in front. Think It Over being lifted by Nash. Oh. Yes. Got up. Think It Over. Nailed Zaki right on the line.
Oh, Darren. He gets us up and about, doesn't he?
He does. And like I reckon Darren would appreciate Nash probably even more so than us.
Yeah.
We've been big Nash guys basically from the conception of this podcast, mate.
Yep.
Big Nash guys. He has a will to win, Nash.
Yeah. He does. And I think he has some horse DNA in him.
I think he does.
Because he just goes like, you know what this horse needs? He just needs rhythm and to be ridden very aggressively.
Love to see it.
And yeah, does another jockey win that? I don't know. But we don't have to know because Nash is on board.
Exactly right.
So
number 1 seed in Sydney, mate.
Absolutely.
No Huey, no J-Mac.
Yep. So with the 7 stakes, this is some, for all the data fans out there, I'm not saying that these horses would beat them, but some pretty crazy data, right? The Midway and the Benchmark 88 went quicker than these. So what are they doing out to the 1600?
What the hell?
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy. Because, the Satness early was actually the quickest run of the day in the midway. And then, Straight Acer, who's gone up from highway grade to a benchmark 88, featherweight, Nash on board again, I believe. Jason Collette, sorry. Sensational ride there as well. Small field. You'd expect a little bit of tempo out there, but honestly, in our mile races at the top echelon, there's nothing really setting that tempo out there.
Mate, no, look at all the Group 1s, weight for age.
Yeah.
And it's all the same horses.
Yep.
All of the same horses they're going at these farcical speeds.
So to give you
unbelievable
context, they went out 13 lengths slower to the 600 metres. And they've come home 8.5 lengths quicker than the Straight Acer race. So it's like, sure, they're rattling home. So it's like, if you're a fangirl fan, there's no way she can win the race.
No. And that's why she's a Goldilocks. And it's unfortunate because you'd argue she's the best horse in the race, but almost now, like in Australia, if you want to be a consistent Group 1, Group 2 weight for age performer, you need to be a horse like Mr. Brightside or Think It Over or Zaki or Alligator Blood, Animo most of the time, and sit in the first 4 or 5 horses. Because if you can't do that consistently, you're not winning many races.
Fangirl ran a 10:52 last 200. Quickest last 200 of the day. You can't run quicker than that.
No.
And when there was six races slower, including a 1,000-metre race, 3 1,400-metre races, a 1,200-metre and a 1,100-metre, like she is absolutely rattled home.
Yeah.
But the race is done.
Race is done.
You mathematically can't win.
That's why I love the big handicap miles, because you know they're going to go quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's it's just a bit frustrating. You want some daring tactics in there.
It is frustrating.
Because are we going to get the same result if Zaki, Think It Over, Fangirl, all those elite horses that finished in the top 3, top 4 there, if they line up in the Makybe Diva, what a mouth-watering contest that is. But does it actually inject a bit more tempo?
Potentially. I think taking the examples from the spring last year probably, whenever Alligator Blood and Zaki clashed, there was a bit more tempo because they both wanted the front.
Yep.
Whereas Zaki's the only natural front runner there. Like Think It Over can obviously land up the front, but he's not going to lead.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's not enough bold front-running horses in our country, full stop. Get some more Waterhouse and Bots in there. They're always fit and ready to go.
I agree. This was a hell of a race, the shorts. Overpass, enormous, lost a shoe in the run.
Did he?
And he has only just been run over late by Private Eye, who has sensational training effort by Joe Pride.
His spring horse.
Yeah. Had a knee issue, I believe, in the autumn.
Did he? Okay.
So, but again, would be sensational if the punters knew that. So overpass doing overpass things, just leading. You know where he's going to be. He should get an Everest slot after
Has to.
Fresh into the Everest. He's a fresh horse. What have we got? About 4 to 5 weeks away. Cherry ripe for that. I think he could run top 3 in an Everest.
That's 100% he could. Because you know he's going to land in a spot. And I wish I win and Giga Kick will be in the last third. So he's the one they have to run down in the Everest.
Yes, they do. And Private Eye, even more impressive. And I don't necessarily think it's such a bad position as it is always advertised, but 3 wide without cover basically the entire run. But this horse has just come back super. And my on-top selection lost him running based off his trials. He was 4 wide without cover, and he's just done.
He's done.
Yeah.
He's done. Private Eye, Nash on board. Geez, that's a jockey booking. 1,200 metres. I think he's he's probably the one that's not going to be in the first or second line of betting for the Everest, but he's a top 3 chance in the Everest private eye for mine.
He'll be $10 in an Everest, and like last year, just absolutely trained to the minute, ready to go.
100% he will be.
Because I can't wait because this, think about it, obviously Giga Kick, I wish I win. Oh, race of the spring.
Easy. Best race in Australia.
So
Marzu.
Does the Star give him up for the slot? Do you pay out the owners or something? I don't know. What do you do?
I don't know. Because he drew wide there, then I don't know. Weird. I think you just roll with him and you sort of just hope that he improves out of that. But bizarre.
Like, he hasn't beaten many home.
No.
Like, I think he only just beat home Lost and Running. Lost and Running finished second last. But the horse I also wanted to say that gets an Everest slot here, Buenos Noches in the middle here, gets held up, doesn't get out till about the 200. And he beats home in secret here.
Fair and square. He'll be better over 1,200.
Yep.
And again, he's probably a horse who you could see stretch out to 14.
Yeah.
So I reckon he'll run a bold race in the Everest. Mate, we've nailed it during the week. What did we say during the week? Buenos Noches, Private Eye, Overpass.
Let's have a look at these real quick. So,
Bit off with King's Gambit.
yes, but is there a 3-year-old that will run? Cylinder's about the only one.
I mentioned one on the podcast, Osmosis.
Yes, Osmosis, and obviously Shinzo will run.
Yep.
So if there's going to be two 2-year-olds, I also put in for Waller, Kadinsky Abstract, but he won't be running.
No, I think what's going to happen is Waller's going to give up his slot.
Or he'll work with, say, a Matty Smith and
Yeah.
get Buenos Noches in or something. Like, do you want to try and win the race, or do you want to negotiate so you get a bit of that and you alleviate some of your liability?
Yeah.
From like paying $1 million for the slot,
Yeah.
or they'll figure it out. So
they're the 3 out of the race who'll get a slot.
all right, so you said and in secret as well.
In secret as well, yeah.
So basically, top 4 through the line, right? Past the post. So you had Shinzo in secret, Buenos Noches, King's Gambit, no. Benedetta, no. Overpass Private Eye.
Yeah.
So basically, there's two there that we could, change. I didn't get many right. Shinzo in secret, Private Eye, yes. Overpass, yes. King's Gambit, no. Kadinsky Abstract, no. Lost and Running, definitely not.
Definitely not.
So,
But you only had Kadinsky in there because you're like, well, Waller needs a horse.
yeah. So,
It's not like you were confident.
God, no. So, Osmosis, interesting.
I think so. So it'll resume in the Heritage Stake Drifters. Heritage Stakes is maybe next Saturday.
And then if we wanted to go down the path of, and there were some comments during the week, which, is extremely well found. If Yulong do want to go with their prized girl, alcohol free, which they paid $10 million for, like maybe that's the, the rein that they pull there.
Yeah. Goes in fresh.
It would make a lot of sense. All right. We're nearly done here, Drifters. This is one of the wins of the day, Rednear. Exempt from, so basically no penalty from winning this heading into an Epsom. He has 50.5 kilos. This is a serious performance. Mentioned by your boy on the preview podcast during the week.
Yeah, it is, mate. And 50.5 kilos. Gee whiz.
He is up to his eyeballs in that race.
Hell yeah, he is. Again, this is why I love the handicap miles. They're good betting races as well. Like Pericles will be favourite, but he'll be what, $4, $5? You think?
This thing?
Pericles.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be the favourite.
$4 favourite. He have, what is he have? 54?
Something like that, 55.
Interesting. So like they're going to be both up there.
Eyeballing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he could be your pony, I reckon, Hutch.
Yeah, he could be. And because he's a totally different horse from since sensational training effort from Waller, because like he was a run-on horse and they're like, you know what, let's try and run this thing on speed. Look how he just gets out here. Just bullies this other horse out. He's like, nah, I'm taking that run.
Yeah.
Bang.
Love to see it.
And
where's Alentia here? Yeah.
Like, look at this thing finish off. And so, yeah, they went 10 lengths quicker out for the other 1,400 metre races on the day. only went 3 lengths slower than the Tis Invincible race. This is a serious run. And I had a little Quinella on Red and Ear, and the third horse here, Makybe, who I was a big fan of throughout the I'm thinking of the last race, don't worry.
So who rode Dania there?
Was it
Dania?
Was it Schiller, maybe? No, Kathy O'Hara.
Kathy O'Hara. Interesting. 50.5 kilos. There's not many jocks who can get to that weight. One comes to mind. His name is Karen McAvoy.
Zach Lloyd will probably be on Pericles, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Depends when J-Mac comes back. I also saw...
He'll be toppy anyway.
That issue that Waller has, Tommy Berry's back in a couple of weeks.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
But you want to ease him back in, you know?
Yeah, but he's good when he's on.
Yeah, he's very good.
He's good
when he's got his mind on the job.
Exactly. Come on, Tommy.
And Kaibu ended a pretty decent day for the Source.
Good day for the Source. You know, in the get-out stakes. And also, Drifters, you know, we also found the last in Melbourne. So what more could you possibly want from us? We're buoyant at the moment, mate.
Yeah, we're finding winners.
We're finding winners. Who is the Source, by the way? Who's the victim? Yeah, it was heart and mouth a little bit, but got there.
Yeah, well, Gaza has a thing about it a little bit.
Gaza does have it. Does have it, so you think about it.
And he needs J-Mac on his back to lift him. But Kaibu, they're heading towards a Golden Eagle with him. Waterhouse Bot again, you just know what you're going to get. Let's quickly circle back Alentia. So there she is last. I'm going to have to look at her sectionals a bit closer. I think she would still be in my betting strategy in an Epsom if she gets into the field. She finishes off pretty well here.
She does, yeah.
And I think she's gone from about $15 out to $26.
And that's always been the play for Chris Waller as well, is to get her into an Epsom. And like we were talking about, in a truly run race, like an Epsom will be, they'll come from everywhere. Yeah, they'll come from everywhere. What will she have on her back? Like 51 or something?
Maybe. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I love in those handicap races. I love a gelding with weight relief, like a tough gelding with weight relief, which I think is what Pericles is becoming. He's putting it all together. So I'll let you in on a little secret, Drifters. He'll probably be my pony in the Epsom. So what do we got next week? Do we have Group 1s next week?
Of course we do.
Good. Because I feel like we've been... Oh, it's Golden Rose next week.
Golden Rose is next week, so we get to see Shinzo first up.
She wants it like a Shinzo, this info. Yeah, no, that's good. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Siri.
Stewart's report. Now, you thought there was a lot previously. This is the biggest list I've ever seen.
Holy shit. I'm
going to get through it. 2 suspensions from, I think actually 3 suspensions on the day. Wilson Taylor was on Mumbai Muse, was charged with careless riding in the T-Rose at 1,000 metres, shifted out when not clear of Kaimochi, which resulted in Kaimochi racing wide throughout. So 2-week suspension for them. Where's the other ones here? Amy Herman suspended for 8 meetings on their ride on William Thomas in the first at Flemington.
William Thomas. He's a funny horse.
Benny Allen has been suspended for 15 metres on their ride on Cause for Concern. But back to Randwick. So Zardozi, who I was, suggesting was a good roughie in the T-Rose, displayed heat stroke after the race. So you can just basically put a line through her entire prep, wait for the spring for her. She's just had just a terrible run of it. Hinged was eased out to last. So she actually finished last in the 7 stakes. She displayed a cardiac arrhythmia. So she had a slow recovery as well. Overpass, as we mentioned, was to play in the run. Outstanding effort. Enormous. Flemington. Now, there's about 15 horses here that have had a slow recovery. So I'll list through them. Skidmarink. So you're tipping the first.
What's going on?
Mare was lame in the near foreleg. Vet certificate needed prior to racing again. Shayar So the short price favourite in the 2,500 metre race. So he was also replated before the race.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So he was lame in the off-hind, another vet certificate needed for him. Climbing Star, slow recovery. Arkansas Kid, a cardiac arrhythmia. Pivot City, lame after the race, didn't handle the hard grounds. Gallant Prince, lame post race. La Zebra, lame post race. Legacy's a slow recovery. Appin Girl scratched at the gates, which was my on top selection.
That's right.
After being fractious, she actually had a gash at the top of her head.
No.
Saying this at Brad and Doey's yesterday, I'm like, imagine being the Connections, flying down from Brisbane, and your horse gets scratched at the gates. You'd just be shattered, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So, shout out to the Connections. Hopefully the horse is all okay. She'll be back. Celestial Storm, slow recovery. Picky, slow recovery. Najim Sahale. So, during the Star Patrol race, he was the one on his lonesome.
Yeah.
Slow recovery for him. Wentwood at 250 to 1 against those. Lane post race. And Devoted will be better on tracks with more give. I think the wind, the hard track, just knocks him about. I've learned a lot out of this meeting at Flemington.
And do you know what? It makes something like an Amelia's Jewel coming from the back. And
Better.
Better.
Way better.
Toppy as well. Like, wow.
So I'll also I'll be mindful of horses to back after that meeting. Like, what is the toll that it's had?
Yeah.
Like the wind and the hardness of the track. It's like, geez. Yeah.
You want to hear someone like Simon Miller come out this week and be like, yep, she ate up all her feed that night. Like, you don't want to hear about like a giga kick gut buster.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's the plan for you for the rest of today, mate?
I think your boy is going to have a very well-deserved zinger box today.
Good boy.
What about you?
Bonative
Bonative.
TV.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. For our little setup here.
That's right. Exciting. Next weekend, Drifters, they're calling it the greatest day in Brisbane sporting history.
Golden Rose into the Lions.
Into Planet Bronc. What more can you want?
Please. But yes, that's the plan for me today.
Get it sorted.
Yeah, might just get it sorted, mate, you know.
Just get it sorted.
That's about it, Drifters. We'll see you Wednesday.
See you, Drifters.